Hey y'all. Um, this will be our first wonderful e-learning assignment. Now, just that you understand, I'm gonna push them out weekly. So when you get the assignment from me at the beginning of the week, it's gonna have everything included that needs to be done to take care of that entire week. Okay. For today, you are going to need a piece of paper because you're going to want to do some problems. So it really doesn't matter for today whether that's a piece of paper, whether you open up a blank doc in Cami, whether you have a mark, however you're going to be able to do the problems. Um, Make sure you have that ready. Okay. Now, you are going to be taking some notes at the beginning, so if you want to make sure that you keep those notes with all you're already the notes that you're already doing, that'd probably be a really good idea. Okay, so here we go. Today, my grasshoppers, we are going to be talking about negative exponent property. Now, the negative exponent property, it works, and we talked about this in class. The whole idea of, okay, 2 to the fourth is 16. 2 to the third is 8. 2 squared is 4. 2 to the first is 2. 2 to the 0 is 1. And in each of these, what we are doing as we go down with our exponent is we are dividing by 2. Well, what happens is when I go 2 to the negative 1, I divide by 2 as a fraction. It's 1 over 2. Okay? For 2 to the negative 2, I divide by 2. As a fraction, it's 1 over 4. So I want you to notice the similarities between 2 over 1 and 2 to the negative 1. 2 squared and 2 to the negative 2 power. Okay? And I want you to kind of think to yourself, if I did 2 to the negative 3, what would that answer be? Well, if we follow this pattern here, for 2 to the first, it basically puts that 2 on the bottom. So it's 1/2. For 2 squared is 4, so 2 to the negative 2, put the 4 on the bottom. It's 1 over 4. So if 2 to the third is 8, that means 2 to the negative 3 should be 1 over 8. Okay, and that's kind of how that works. Now, the majority of the time, guys, when we have these, you are going to see a negative exponent, and it's going to be more like this first example. Okay. The negative exponent, it's going to take your base and it's going to move it to the bottom. What I want you to notice is that it does not change the sign of the number. This does not become a negative 2 to the fourth. Notice it's not negative 16, it's 16. Okay. But essentially, all the negative exponent does is it puts this on the bottom of the fraction as a positive exponent. Okay. The reverse is true in this second example. If we happen to have a negative exponent on the bottom, all that means is move it up to the top. Okay. And it becomes j to the fourth. Okay. So the negative exponent, as a rule, it just switches sides of the fraction. Okay. You change it to a positive exponent and it switches sides of the fraction. Now let's look at how that occurs in some problems. And this is the main part I want you to write down. I want you to write down these examples that I do here. And this is the first one. We have x to the negative 4, y to the ninth, z to the negative 6. Now for this one, I'm only worried about fixing the negative exponents. There's no like bases anywhere, so I don't have to multiply. I don't have to divide. I don't have any power property. But this x has a negative exponent, so it is going to be moved to the bottom. The y is positive. It's good where it's at. It's already happy. Leave them alone. The z is negative, and it's on the bottom, so that means I'm going to move this to the top. So my final answer, I would still have y to the ninth in the numerator, z to the sixth moved up there, and x to the fourth goes down. Notice in my answer, I no longer have any negative exponents. Okay, all these do is tell me put them on the other part of the fraction. That's it. Let's look at another one like that. Okay. For this particular one, we got a to the negative 2, b to the third over c to the negative 5. Now again, the a has a negative exponent, so I'm going to move that one. The b is good where it's at. The c has a negative exponent. I'm going to move that one. Okay, so my answer, b to the third stays where it's at. C to the fifth moved up. And a squared moved down. And that's it. Okay, so that's the basics of how you manipulate it in order to remove all the negative exponents. Okay, anytime you have a negative exponent, that particular base has to move to the other part of the fraction. Now, we are going to see these along with problems. Okay, so this is a division problem that has negative exponents in it. And what you want to make sure that you do is you wait to do the negative exponents. Okay, so let's do this division problem. We have 75 over 15. I'm going to break these apart. P to the third over P to the fifth. Q to the negative fifth over Q to the negative fourth. And then I have 1 over R to the negative 8. Okay. Now, 75 over 15 is 5. My P's are being divided. So remember, we subtract the exponents. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. The Q's are being divided, so I would subtract the exponents. And this is where we make mistakes. Got to be careful. Be negative 5 minus negative 4. So that minus and negative actually turns that into a plus. And that's going to be a negative 1. Now, there's nothing to be done here with this. And this R is on the bottom. So I have to leave it on the bottom. Okay? I'm not doing a division problem with that. Now, let's fix our negative exponents. 5 is good where it's at. R is coming up. So R to the eighths comes up. P's going down. P squared. And Q's going down. Q to the first. And there's my final answer. Okay? So get one more of these. Okay? Again, this is a division problem, and there's some work to be done here. So I'm going to organize 36 over 9, x to the fifth over x to the fourth, y to the eighth over y squared, and z to the third over z to the sixth. So 39 over 6, remember, that's just a fraction. That simplifies to be 4. The x's are divided. We're going to subtract those exponents. 5 minus 4 is 1. The y's are divided. We're going to subtract those exponents. 8 minus 2 is 6. And the z's are divided. I'm going to subtract those exponents. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Now, I got this negative exponent, so I'm going to fix it. That moves to the bottom. So I get 4x y to the 6 over z to the third. Now we're going to do a few sets of problems here, 3 different ones. So it's going to mix up all the different types that we've learned. And here's the first one. If you go ahead and pause the video and complete those problems. All right, for the first one, see 2 times 2 is 4. With my x's, let's not forget that those have 1s on them. So with my x's, I have 3 of them. X to the first, x squared, x to the first. I add those up. I get x to the fourth. With the y's, don't forget this is y to the first. I have 1 plus 4, which is 5. For number 2, we got 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. For the a's, I have a to the fourth and a to the fourth. I add those up and multiply. Remember, we add the exponents. The b's, I have b to the fourth and b to the first. Okay, can't forget that that's a 1. And I have b to the fifth. Okay, number 3 and 4, we have the power property. And remember, with the power property, we're going to multiply all those exponents by 2. So the y has a 1 on it. So 1 times 2 is 2. For the x, 2 times 2 is 4. And I'm done. For number 4, let's not forget the 2 that base has a 1 on it. So all 3 of these exponents get multiplied by the 4. So for the 2, 1 times 4 is 4. So we got 2 to the 4th. For the m, 4 times 4 is 16. And for the n, 2 times 4 is 8. Don't forget to go ahead and take care of that. 2 to the 4th power is 16. And I'm done. Right, here's our second set. Go ahead and just pause the video and complete these problems. All right. Now this is division. 5 and 6 are division. So we have 2 over 3. 2 over 3 cannot be simplified, so I still have 2 over 3. The a's are being divided, so I need to subtract those exponents. 1 minus 1 is 0. So remember, if it's 0, it's gone. The b's are divided, so I need to subtract. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And I have a negative exponent to take care of. It's on the top, so I move it to the bottom. So I end up with 2 over 3b squared. Number 6. The fraction here is 3 over 1. Well, 3 over 1 is just 3. The x's are divided. I need to subtract those exponents. 6 minus 4 is 2. The y's are divided. I need to subtract those exponents. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Well, I have a negative exponent. I need to fix that. So I have 3x squared over y squared. Now 7 and 8, there was no work to be done, but I do have to fix the negative exponents. So that moves down, and I end up with y to the third over x squared. For number 8, the 3 is fine. The x has to move down. I end up with 3y to the third over x to the fourth. Okay. Last set here. Go ahead and just pause the video and complete these problems. All right. Multiplication here. So we have 4 times 4 times 2. Well, 4 times 4 is 16 times 2 is 32. The x's, we have x to the third and x to the negative 1. I need to add those exponents because I'm multiplying. 3 plus negative 1 is 2. The y's, we're multiplying. I'm going to add all those exponents. Negative 3 plus negative 3 plus 3. And I get negative 3. Well, that y has to be fixed because it has a negative exponent. So my final answer, I'm going to put it below here. I get 32x squared over y to the third. The second one, 4 times 1 is 4. The x's are multiplied, so I'm going to add the exponents. 4 plus 3 is 7. The y's are multiplied. I'm going to add the exponents. 3 plus 1 is 4. And I don't have any negative exponents, so I'm good. 11. Fraction first. Remember, the fraction 3 over 4 cannot be simplified. So I still have 3 over 4. The m's are divided. I have to subtract those exponents. I got to do that correctly. It's negative 1 minus 3. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. The n's are divided. I have to be careful I do the right subtraction problem. This is negative 4 minus negative 1. And since it's minus a negative, that turns into plus. And that's going to be negative 3. Well, m and n both have negative exponents. They need to be moved. So the only thing left on top is the 3. On the bottom, I have 4, m to the fourth, n to the third. The very last one is the power property again. So remember, all those exponents get multiplied by the 4. For the 2, 1 times 4 is 4. For the x, 3 times 4 is 12. And for the y, negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Okay, take care of 2 to the 4th, and I need to fix the y. So 2 to the 4th is 16, x to the 12th, y moves to the bottom as y to the 8th. And I am finished. Now, if you need to go back and rewatch, okay, go back and rewatch. Your next step is to go ahead and open up Alex, complete the quiz that I assigned on there. So you will have, I believe I said it, so you have 2 opportunities to take it. Take your time. There are some problems with negative exponents on there. Understand that some of those will be extra credit. Okay. It's something new, but I need to just kind of see where we're at in terms of our understanding. Sorry, I'm flipping through this. I don't know why. Okay. Guess I'm getting a little bored myself. All right. Well, you guys hang tight in there. Again, going to get essentially 1 video per week. There will be a some sort of a homework assignment that'll be attached to it. And I'm going to try to use some of the things that are in Alex already to help you guys out. That way it's easier for you to just go on there and take care of it on Alex. All right. You guys have a great day. We'll talk about more things as we go forward. All righty. Adios.